guys, today I want to talk about living intentionally versus living by default. Basically, meaning instead of living by letting things happen to you and letting them determine how your life goes, being intentional about how you live and what your life can look like. So, for me, to be very honest with you, when I went through my divorce, I dealt with a lot of brokenness and I felt like I lost who I was in the process. I lost my purpose, I lost the principles behind what I valued, and I just kind of felt all over the place. And after some time of playing victim for so long and realizing that victim didn't work for me and victim didn't feel good for me and victim wasn't as comfortable as I thought, and I wanted to break free, or so I thought, I decided that I was going to hire a coach. And I hired a wonderful coach who helped support me through the journey of healing. But I would like to be truly transparent with you guys. And when I first hired that coach, I did not believe that I could heal. I did not believe that I could find peace again. I did not believe that I could find happiness. I did not believe that I could find healing. Truthfully, I didn't believe anything. And so I knew I hired a coach because I knew that that's what I should do, but I didn't believe it. And so for a long time, because my mindset wasn't ready and because I wasn't there, I was not able to move forward in the direction of healing until I got there. And so my coach really helped support me in that process of getting that healing that I needed throughout that journey. Once I got to that place, she highlighted an important fact for me, and she told me that I had been living by default and not by design. And when she broke that down, I realized that I had truly allowed my divorce, my circumstance, to determine my life. I allowed this broken place and this hurtful thing that had happened to me determine what I expected to happen for me in my future. I did not believe that I could design a life that I loved because I was so hurt and because I was so depressed and so anxious and so angry and so bitter. And so she finally put the power back in my hand, which is what I'm going to do for you today. Take a moment and I want to ask you just a few questions to consider. Are you living your life by default or are you living your life by design? So the first way to tell if your life is being lived by default is to identify if you feel like you have meaning behind your life. Do you feel like your life matters? Do you feel like there's an importance behind your life? If you have no meaning in your life, you're ultimately living your life by default. You're allowing the things around you to give you value or to give you meaning. For me personally, I walked around with the scarlet letter D on my forehead and allowed that to give my life value. Therefore, I did not feel very valuable because I was a divorcee. And so I allowed that circumstance to be the description and the definition of who I was as a person. The next way is if you have no plan for your life, you have no idea what could happen next, no idea of how to create a plan of what you would like to have happen next. And so you're just kind of going through life and allowing the day to go about itself. I say this all the time for women when I work with the budgeting aspect, right? You have to tell your money where to go or else your money will control you. And it's the same thing after a divorce. You have to tell your emotions how to respond and you have to identify a plan for your life, or otherwise you're just kind of going through life and letting things happen to you instead of designing it intentionally. The next way you can tell if you're living by default is you may have a plan or an idea, but you're not taking action, right? You're so consumed in anger or depression or bitterness or overwhelm or hurt or whatever else. And so you're not being intentional about taking the action that you need to be successful. Yeah, you can tell people, oh, I hope one day I'll be able to move out of town, or I hope one day I'll be able to start a business, or I hope one day I'll be able to write a book about this. But I'm just, letting the days go by. So you have a plan, but you have no actions that you're taking towards that plan. And then the next one, or the last one, would be having a plan, but taking action sporadically, right? If we sometimes take action, we're going to have a sometimes result with our goal. So for example, if you're working on healing, but you sometimes decide to meditate, or you sometimes decide to go to counseling, or you sometimes decide to read a motivational book or quote or post or blog, then sometimes you will feel well. When you meditate, you'll probably walk away feeling well. When you exercise, your endorphins will kick in and you'll probably walk away feeling well. When you meet with your counselor, you'll feel like you got a lot of stuff off your chest, right? But it's not a long-term plan, and it's definitely not a solution to be successful on your journey. And so if you want to live your life intentionally and by design, you have to be intentional about how you approach it, right? You cannot just wait for life to happen to you, because I promise you, even beyond your divorce, you can be doing fine today and then tomorrow have another problem, right? Things and hurdles and bumps and humps in the road will always come throughout our life, but we have to be intentional about being able to design our life despite those hurdles, being able to create a life that we love and we look forward to living, even when those hurdles come. And so I want to talk about briefly how you can create this life that you love. So the first thing is to identify a plan. Like, what motivates you? What makes you happy? What makes you inspired? What is your why? Like, why do you want to go forward? What do you hope to happen? A lot of women that I work with when they're going through a divorce struggle with creating a plan because they've allowed their divorce to define them. They believe that because this one bad situation happened for them, that nothing positive can come beyond that. And I am here to tell you firsthand that great things can come. A lot of times our pride will have us crying over closed doors that had nothing behind it. When that door closes, understand, right? Understand that there's nothing behind there that's meant for you, or else it wouldn't have shut. Okay? I like to tell women about the seesaw factor, right? I call it the seesaw factor. But basically, what you see in your marriage is what's going to continue to happen, right? What you saw happened. What you see is what you saw, therefore it happened. And so a lot of times when women get out of these relationships, they kind of justify it and they try to switch it and say like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought, or it didn't happen the way that I thought it did, or I over exaggerated, or I was too emotional. But it's because they're in a hurt place and they feel like the only way to heal is to go back to what's familiar or comfortable. But understand that if that door closed, it is time for you to move forward, and understand that one door closes, but multiple other doors can open just as well. So I want to encourage you with that as you continue to press forward. And I want to also encourage you with that because it's so important to live your life by design, by creating a plan, giving yourself something to look forward to, giving your life meaning. If you don't give your life meaning, then the meaning of your life will always be so consumed with that divorce or that horrible thing that happened to you that's keeping you stuck. So I identify a plan. And the best way to do that is to come up with a couple different things. Like, what are you really passionate about? What can you do that like excites you and just lights you up? What is something that comes easy to you, but maybe for other people, they really struggle? For me, it comes very easy for me to write. I can write down thoughts. I can write posts on social media. I can write books. Like, I can write blog posts. Like, I would have one idea and then I will run with it. My daughter asked me yesterday, I had like a really tough workout and I was exhausted and I was venting to her about like how exhausting the workout was. And she said, well, why don't you just do easy workouts? Like, why do you always have to do hard workouts? And I made an entire blog post about that, about how easy isn't always good and how pain isn't always bad. Because the truth is, it's not. That pain from my workout is going to give me the gain that I desire. The pain from your divorce is going to teach you the things that you need for the next chapter in your life. But if you are always pushing that away, you're going to struggle with finding that truth. And so I made an entire post of one comment that my daughter said because I felt inspired. I felt like, oh my gosh, like there's women that could be blessed from this, understanding that pain isn't always bad. Pain can be gain, right? Same, not just in a workout, but in your divorce as well. Pain can be gain. And so when you think about like what is something that you're really good at, I thought about that. So for me, I can write, and that gave me purpose. That gave me things to look forward to be able to inspire and encourage other women all across the world that are also going through this. That gave me purpose. And so find something in your life that gives you purpose. Maybe you're a really great parent and you'd love to like create ideas and invent things for your children's school PTA and different things that they can bring into play. Maybe you're a really good speaker and you'd like to have different speaking engagements. Maybe you love finding traveling deals for like a really low price. And so you find opportunities to travel around the world and meet other people. Like, find something you're passionate about, but that also comes off super like second nature to you. And I believe that that's often what we're called to do. Those things that come off really easy and come off really familiar, but for other people are like super abstract. For me, organizing, I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of different things. And when I went through my divorce, I was going through a divorce. I'm a single mom. I was working a full-time job, a part-time job, and going through my doctoral program. And so for me, it was like, everyone was coming to me, how do you juggle and balance all these hats? But for me, it was like, I know how to multitask. I know how to organize my schedule. I know how to keep my house clean because I schedule it that came as second nature to me. And so I was able to coach and support other women and actually wrote my very first book, Quick Tips for Busy Women, on that very subject because it allowed me an opportunity to be able to support other women for something that comes as second nature to me. And so consider that for yourself as well. Once you identify that plan, I want you to foster it. Like, what does that plan look like for you? How can you implement that in your life? So maybe it's starting a crafting business. And so you create a schedule on Saturdays where you are working on your crafting business for an hour every single Saturday. Or maybe that it's like you start doing the things at the PTA for your kids' school. Then you create a plan with your kids' PTA that you're going to meet every Tuesday and create new ideas or bring new people in. Whatever that is, foster a plan for what that's going to look like. And then the third and final step is to take care of yourself. I read a quote today, and let me reference it. It says, "You can't be valuable to others if you're not first valuable to yourself." And so we're not going to be able to reach our purpose. We're not going to feel good. And we're not, even if we are doing something we love, right? Even if you're giving back to the PTA or helping other people travel or helping people organize their life or cleaning houses or whatever it is, you're still not going to feel good only giving if you're not taking care of you first. And so the next and final step is to be sure to take care of yourself. That is really the key to growing in this process. These are the strategies you need to be intentional about going forward in your life and not allowing your divorce and your situation to consume you and to control your life, but to be intentional about living your life by your design, by a design that you've created, something you can look forward to give your life meaning, and not by default and allowing things to just happen to you and becoming bitter or frustrated that these things have now taken over your life. I am super excited that you guys are interested in taking that step to design your life and to move that default over to the side and really take those steps to give your life purpose and meaning. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will chat with you guys later. Bye.